Hi, and welcome to the first LinkedIn Live session of Thermax. I'm Akanksha Chaudhary from Corporate Communications, and today we are joined here with Mr. Mahesh Deshpande, our R&D and technical expert on oilfield chemicals. Mahesh brings with him a rich experience of 28 years in the field and will be sharing insights on wax treatment in oilfield chemicals. If you have questions pertaining to the topic or slides covered during the presentation, please share them in the comments below and we will address them at the end of the session. So let's welcome our speaker. Hi Mahesh, welcome to the session and over to you.
Thank you, Akanksha, for having me here today and for the brief introduction. Without any further ado, let us start the session. Let me begin this session with the theme of our new SPE's president, Mr. Tom. What he says, survive, retrieve, and thrive. In the recent COVID pandemic, oil and gas is the worst affected industry, and we have seen the negative crude price for the first time. Even today, the aviation is not yet back to the normal. Also, there is always pressure from green energy like solar and electrical. Hence, I see the theme is more appropriate for the time. We need to survive first in the pandemic situation and then retrieve to the normal and then try for the better. I am confident that even in the given circumstances, oil and gas will be there for next 30 to 40 years. Oil exploration, production, transportation are the various activities involved in the oil industry. Handling production of the oil is mainly difficult for the waxy crude. Hence, we have selected the topic of today's session as optimizing flowability in oil production and transportation. There are various means to overcome the flowability issue, like mixing of crude with the lighter crude, heating the oil, pumping as an emulsion, crude conditioning, or diluting with a solvent. And the last option is the chemical treatment. What we'll be seeing today is the chemical treatment and more specifically various polymers used in such treatment. And we'll also see what Thermax to offer. The key topics we'll be covering like what is the crude oil, issues handling in crude oil, various polymers used and how they act, like what is their mechanism, oil properties and their testing techniques, then optimization of flowability and what Thermax to offer. First, we'll see what is crude oil. Crude oil will be a mixture of asphaltene, resins, paraffins, and so they will have a wide molecular mass distribution and different molecular structures. Depending upon the polymer percentage, the classification is done for the crude oils. For less than 1.5% paraffin, they are called as a low paraffinic crude. Then middle paraffinic crudes are classified with 1.5 to 6% paraffin content. And anything above 6% are termed as a paraffinic crude. Like you must be knowing, for India or Southeast Asia, we usually have paraffin crude oils. And for Middle East, it is a lighter crude. So the treatment varies from the petroleum type. Now we'll see the issues handling in the oil. When oil is inside the reservoir, it is at a higher temperature. So all the paraffins are in solubilized form. And when it comes above the surface, the temperature drops down gradually. And so the viscoelectric property changes upon the cooling. And they form the crystallization, and over a period it forms a gel. And this gel accumulates on the inner walls of the system or pipelines. Usually the paraffin sediment contains 70% of paraffin, then 40% of asphaltene, and remaining will be the minerals and waters. How these issues are handled, as I discussed earlier, there are different types. The topic of today is the polymer additive. And more specifically, these polymers addition is important for the waxy crude with a high paraffin content. And this is also important depending upon the environment, that is, how is the weather. If it is hotter like Middle East, there is no issue, even if it has a lower temperature. But if the environment is colder, then the handling issue is more important. Now, how these paraffins polymers are act? Polymer act as a very different mechanism, and these crude oil properties varies like viscosity, then wax appearance temperature, then pour point, and so generally these additives are called as a pour point depression, or some people call it as a flow improvers also. So the result of both prevention of paraffin crystal and modification of paraffin crystal. Some polymer also act as a dispersant or detergent. They don't reduce the pour point, but they only reduce the viscosity. You can see the picture. Without additive, the wax will form a uniform gel, and with additive, they will form as an agglomerate. The mechanism for this is like a co-crystallization and related to the paraffin crystallization only. There are polymers will have different molecules like wax like paraffin part consisting in a linear backbone of the chain, and polar part will be in the side chain. You can see in the picture also. So what these polymers affect is that they hinder the growth of the crystals, and they begin to lower the temperature. In absence of PPD, paraffin and crystals will form a plate-like structure, and together they will form a agglomerate. And in absence of PPD, it will be a uniform crystal, so the gel point will be at higher temperature. If you can see my hand, the backbone of the polymer will be like a comb backbone, and side chains will be of the chain, long chain involved in the polymer structure. And if wax precipitate, they get agglomerated in the polymer side chain, and they form a agglomerate like a flock, and these flocks will be carried out with the liquid part in the crude oil present. Now we will see properties of the oils and their techniques. First one we can see the wax deposition, which can be tested by cold finger test or cold dish or cold spot test. Then wax morphology can be tested by electron scanning microscope. Then optical light microscopy can be checked by cross polymer microscopy. Then wax formation can be tested by X-ray diffraction. Then wax appearance temperature and cloud point can be checked visually, or they can be tested by differential scanning calorimeter. Then pour point is tested with ASTM D97 test method. And flowability can be checked with different viscometers or rheology meters. And we can measure the yield stress or plastic viscosity like parameters. Now we will see different polymers used for the wax treatment. Ethylene vinyl acetate is the first generation polymer used for the treatment of oil. As we can see, there is no side chain involved, so they use mainly for the lighter crude. Or we can say about 50 years back, there were not more paraffinic oils. So these polymers were used in earlier days. These ethylene and vinyl acetate are copolymerized, and vinyl acetate percentage is a key parameter. Normally, vinyl acetate percentage between 25 to 30 are used for the crude oil treatment. Next one is the polyethylene or polyethylene polypropylene copolymers. These are again like a dispersant or detergent for the crude treatment. These are used earlier, but nowadays these are not used in much extent. Polyethylene butene is also in the similar chemical range, and they also act as a dispersant or detergent. Again, they are used for the lighter crude. Next one is the Malignant alpha olefin polymers. These are used extensively nowadays. 1 mole of malignant and 1 mole of alpha olefin are copolymerized, and this then malignant is esterified with fatty alcohols or fatty amines. There are also malignant other copolymers, like most popular is the styrene malignant copolymer. Here also 1 mole of styrene is reacted with malic anhydride, 1 mole of malic anhydride to get a polymer, copolymer. And again, this malic anhydride is esterified with fatty alcohol. You can see the reaction mechanism below. And this esterification also can be uh, altered by 1:2 mole or 1:1.5 mole or 1:1 mole to see the efficacy. Polyacrylate is also a most popular polymer used as a pour point depression. They are not used as a flow improvement, but for pour point depression, they are most popular. Here also, acrylic acid is esterified with fatty alcohol. They can be in the range of C16 to C24 for crude oil, and for lower oil like lubricating oil or diesel oil, the carbon chain can be reduced further also. And then this ester is purified and then polymerized. This is also a pour point depression, and mechanism is like a comb structure, what we have discussed earlier. There are other chemistries also used, like polyolefins of higher alpha olefins. They can be also used. There are some references available. Then higher carboxylic acids as initial compound for the PPD synthesis, and products interaction of polyethylene polyamines with rapeseed oils are also given in the references. Recently, there are some experiments done on the nanoparticles. Some nanoclay or nanosilica particles are taken, and these polymers, what we have discussed earlier, are coated on this silica clay or nanoparticles, and then they are dosed. I don't think these are commercialized as of now, but some references are there that these nano hybrid dispersant work at lower dosage. So in conclusion, we can say there is no quantitative model exists between the molecular structure and the PPD performance, because every oil has will have different characteristics, and so we have to choose the polymer which will suit that particular oil. So PPD polymers are unified by the capacity of co-crystallization and paraffin modules also. Heavy oil products are complex systems. The corresponding PPD must combine the characteristics of modified paraffin crystal. The capacity of coordination with aspartame is also an important issue, because some references say that aspartame helped in pour point depression, and some say aspartame hinder in the performance of PPD polymers. So in nutshell, we can say for every crude oil, you have to conduct a bottle test with a variety of PPD additives and then arrive at the most suitable PPD for that particular crude, and then you have to optimize the dosage. Now we will see what is Thermax and one slide of the corporate. Thermax is present in power, heating, cooling, water, and chemicals. And so we can cater different varieties of raw material to finished product, and we also treat some waste utilities also, like air pollution control, waste material management, and energy conservation, etc. We are from the chemical division. This is some background of chemical division. We acquired a Tulsifine chemical company in Thermax, and in the 84, it has been named as a chemical division of the Thermax Limited. Earlier, we were having a manufacturing unit in Khopoli in Pune MIDC area. Then we shifted to the Khopoli location in 1992. Then in 2008, we started the paper chemical in our portfolio. In around 2012, we started our Jagadia facility in Gujarat. In 2013, we have started the construction chemical, and in around 2018, we started the resin facility, a special economic zone SEZ unit in Dahej. In Thermax, sorry, we are one-stop solution for all the specialty chemical application. Specifically, we are not into the commodity. Our motto is to be in the specialty chemical range. We have strong dedicated workforce of around 250 professionals. In addition, there are some workers also. Then we have three different production units. As I told earlier, we have one in Khopoli, one in Jagadia, and one in Dahej. We begin our operation long back in 1980, so we have a legacy of that 4 decades. Then we have 5 different product lines like ion exchange resin, then performance product group, which deals with the cooling water, boiler water, fire side. Then we have oil feed, then we have paper chemical, and recently started is the construction chemical. We are the export-oriented unit, and more than 60% of product goes outside India. As I discussed earlier, we have different verticals within our chemical division. Ion exchange resin is our major product. Then water treatment and fuel additive treatment chemical, we call it as a performance product group. Then we have construction chemical group, and we have oil field chemical group. As you can see, we have three different manufacturing units: Jagadia in Gujarat, then Poud in Maharashtra, and another one is in Gujarat, that is Dahej factory. Our oil field chemicals are manufactured in Jagadia and this Poud location. We have a dedicated team of R&D people. We have more than 12 doctorates in our R&D center. Our R&D center is located in Bhosri, Pune, and we support with the technical expertise or troubleshooting to the manufacturing locations. And also we do a new product development also. For R&D, we have dedicated instrumentation lab within our premises, like gas chromatography, high pressure liquid chromatography, then ion analyzer, different units, equipment or instruments required for our product lines. We are a ISO 9000 company. We are also ISO 14000 and 18000 for all our manufacturing locations. As and when required, we have the halal or NSA for kosher certificate depending upon the customer need. All our oil field and resins are recertified for the Europe export. And we are in the process of getting ISO 14000 for our R&D locations also. Now we'll see what Thermax can offer out of this polymer additive. We have three different polymers in our basket. First one is the polyvinyl acrylate, and we have some copolymers of that acrylate also, like Malignant copolymer or some amine copolymers. Recently, We can have EVA graph polymers also in acrylate chemistry. Second one is the styrene maleic anhydride copolymers. And as I mentioned earlier, we can do the partial esterification of also with the different fatty alcohol carbon chain length. Then we have recently introduced alpha olefin maleate copolymers also. Again, that maleate can be esterified with benyl alcohol, and we have three different alpha olefins in our product basket. First one we can say 20 to 24, then second one is 24 to 28 carbon chain length, and we have 30 plus carbon chain length also. And we can have different formulations also with the wax dispersion, depending upon the need of the customer or that particular crude oil. So you can see we have wide range of polymers to cater the different variety of crude oils, and we have freedom of having different side chain like acrylic or styrene maleic or styrene olefin, and we have freedom of having different carbon chain length for the alcohols like side chain. Mainly we can start from C12 to C22. We can have any combination of alcohol carbon chain length for any of these backbone polymers. We also have other flow assurance chemical like asphalt inhibitor. We have phenol formaldehyde resin. We have two different types of phenol formaldehyde resin. Different phenols are used like nonil phenol or octadacyl phenol or like chemicals. Then we have hydrate inhibitor or amidoamine salts. At present we have only one hydrate inhibitors. Then we have various viscosity reducers for heavy crude oil. As we discussed earlier, for heavy crude oil or super heavy crude oil for which have 4 point of 45 and above, 4 point depression of 4 improvers doesn't work. So in that case, we use normally viscosity reducers. So we have one type of emulsion polymer which can act as a viscosity reducer. And we have two types of paraffin dispersion. They are mainly surfactant. One is UO-based product and one is amine-based product. And recently we have added one more also, paraffin. So we in total we have three paraffin dispersants. These are some performance examples. As we discussed, for different oil, different product will be used and different dosage will be used. It all depends upon what is the requirement of the environment of that particular transportation pipeline. First one we can say Bombay High Crude. The dosage is fixed by the operator, is 350 ppm. The blank core point is 30 and their requirement is of below 80. So we have standardized one of our product to reach the 15-degree final core point. In Kesanapalli crude in Krishna Godavari district at 400 ppm, it reduced the blank core point from 27 to 9 degree. Then there are some examples of Assam, different varieties in Borola crude. Again, because of wax nature, the dosage is higher and the reduction is lower as compared to earlier oils. It all depends upon the wax percentage, wax molecular weight. So below you can see different varieties and different depressions achieved at a different dosage. These photographs show what we have flow assurance testing kits in our laboratory. First one is the cloud and 4-point bath, STM D97 specified. Then we have Brookfield rheometer to check the viscosity at different temperature. We can set the cooling cycle and see the viscosity at different temperature at half a minute interval. Third one is the fan viscometer, mainly used for plastic viscosity and yield value calculation. And below are some test kit which we can carry to the field and do the testing on the fresh crude. These are some other chemical other than 4-point depression or flow assurance. We have different varieties in primary and secondary crude oil testing, crude oil production. First one is demulsifier, then one is de-oiler, which can separate the oil from the water, from the produced water after demulsification. Then, as you know, we have discussed PowerPoint depression and flow improvers. Then we have production line, corrosimeter and scale meter, specifically uh, oil soluble or water soluble as per the need of the customer. And in scale meter, we have only polymer or polymer with organophosphorate composition. And in crude, secondary oil production, we have complete range of product basket starting from coagulant, flocculant, biocides, oxygen scavenger, corrosion emitter, scale emitter. So overall, we have complete range of product basket for primary oil recovery and secondary oil recovery. These are some sectors we cater in our chemical division, total chemical division. Here we are talking. Since we are in the utility, we are present in all types of industry like automobile, cement, chemical fertilizer, distillery, and different industry like sugar, oil and gas, since we are in the utility business. These are some of the global customers we treat and they are all our happy customers. These are again only all for the chemical division. I think that's all in my presentation. If there are any questions, we can see. I think I have received a couple of questions. First one is from, I think, Madhavi. What advantages Thermax product has? So I can say we are the manufacturer of PPD and we manufacture PPD from the basic raw materials like acrylic acid, styrene, maleic anhydride. So we have a liberty of choosing the different molecular weight, different monomers, different carbon chain distribution for the fatty alcohol. So for any crude oil, you should have freedom on different molecular weights and different carbon chain distribution so that you can choose a proper polymer which can give the best performance on the given crude oil. Hope I answered the question properly. Then second question is, what are the range of products? We have discussed that we have complete range of primary and secondary crude oil production range, starting from demulsifier, PPD, de-oiler, then produced water calorimeter, produced water scalemeter. And in secondary recovery, we have complete range of water treatment chemical, or some people call it that water injection chemicals also. So we have coagulant, flocculant, then oxygen scavenger, again injection water scalemeter and its injection water calorimeter and scalemeter. Then third question is from Akshay, I think. Can we get samples and technical support? Yes. Normally what we do, because these 4-point depressant are to be tested on the fresh oil. So it is not a good idea to get the crude oil in our laboratory and do the product selection. So alternatively, what we do is we send our PPD kit to different laboratory where they can get the fresh crude oil. They conduct the initial screening and they say that out of these 8 polymers, this polymer is working. So we can send a second kit to optimize the dosage. Anything else? Yeah, there is one more question from Prakash, I think. Is Thermax working on the silicon-based nanoparticle? At present, no. At present, we are working on the clay-based and clay-based nanoparticles only. We have started some experimentation. Soon we will come out with the product. Any additional question? One more question from Patil. What is the general temperature of crude oil in transit? The normal, to answer this question, I am not getting the question right now, but crude oil transportation temperature depends upon the environment from which that pipeline is going. And to support this question, normally the pour point depression is added 17 degree above the normal pour point so that it will co-crystallize with the wax and then it will have effect. If it is those below that, the effect of pour point depression will not, you will not see the effect. Then next one is which atmosphere is suitable for the storage of PPD. Normally our PPDs are classified as a hazardous, they are classified as a flammable liquids and it is better to store them away from the open flame and should be stored in shade to prevent from the direct exposure to the sunlight. But these polymers, I can say, are stable and up to 2 years they will not deteriorate their performance if they are stored in original packing. It is any more questions? So I think thank you everybody and over to you Akanksha for the closing remarks.
Thank you, Mahesh, for sharing detailed insights on the subject, and a big thank you to our audience for joining in today. Thank you. In case there are any more questions, you can still post it in the comment section, and we will come back to you on those later. Thank you so much.
Thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you.